Risk communication. So risk communication normally is a process where you tell the factors, risk factors associated with the technologies. So risk is there in the companies, like now artificial intelligence is coming, robotics is coming. So before the robotics is getting popular, the companies will try to convey the risks associated with the new technologies or the new processes, natural hazards, human activities. So before the risk, so you can communicate in three ways. One is before the risk happen, before any incident happen, so that is called pre-incident. So you are just conveying the risk in general terms, correct? Communication, risk communication. Second is during the event. Maybe there is a earthquake, there is a mass disease, in Japan there was a nuclear crisis some time back. During the communication, during the risk, during the crisis, what kind of communication we need, and after the crisis, what is happening, right? So that normally is, so risk communication is not about managing the risk. We are not managing the risk. We are just managing the communication, how we communicate. So because we are not experts, right? So we need to, the communication is basically to convert the expert opinions into non-expert opinions, because you are communicating with the public. Public doesn't know the disadvantages or the risk involved in anything. For example, there is a public plastic manufacturing factory in downtown today. So the risk is pollution. So that is a simple language, but the technical language can be different, and it will create some kind of gas, maybe have a technical name, which will create some disease, maybe have a technical name. So what is the communication is, you are trying to tell the public in advance, these will be the risks when the factory will be there. So you are trying to tell in a normal language which people can understand. Okay. So it's normally have a promotion of reasoned dialogue among stakeholders, so that people understand risk management. People can accept the risk. To fulfill this, they need to understand how the risk is perceived by the public. Okay. So it can be the crisis can be a major event that has potentially negative event, which may significantly damage the organization. So that is called crisis. The purpose of crisis management is to minimize the damage and maintain public confidence. So that is the purpose of crisis communication. In our example, you can see the American Airlines, this is what they do, right? To manage the crisis. There is a crisis already which can damage their reputation, which can damage their business, but they try to keep the public confidence and also reduce the damage that happen. Okay. In crisis communication, you have normally a few factors: crisis stakeholder relationship and factors in crisis communication and public bias. So stakeholders means is in a situation that affects organizational relationship with the stakeholders, especially that draw media attention and involves management of those relationships. So that is called crisis communications. If you begin with the value of organization and then subtract from the material asset, the value is what? Brand value, right? Normally, if let's say the company has total value, maybe in the public, whatever is the public image, minus the actual assets, the rest is your value, goodwill, correct? In accounting terms. So that value is you can lose in few seconds if there is a crisis. So that's the company need to manage the value of the perception. So normally the theory of the image restoration is called, it concerned with the crisis situation where relevant public believe organization to be responsible and for an offensive act. So if people believe the organization has done something wrong, how you are going to manage it? So normally you have few response options, same as the previous one: deny the responsibility, we didn't do anything, correct? Or evade the responsibility, somebody else do it. we didn't do it, or reduce the offensiveness of the act. So you are actually saying that, okay, yes, we did it, but these were the reasons. So you try to justify your act so that it looks less offensive, or take corrective actions. So you fix it, correct? So you can relate this with all the situations, 3 situations, 4 situations that we learned earlier, right? Depending on what is the damage or what is the stakes, how much stake and how much legitimacy. If it's low, ignore it, deny. If its legitimacy is there, the stakes are high, then you evade. If legitimacy is yes, then you try to reduce offensiveness of the act. Or if it's high stakes, high legitimacy, take corrective actions. You cannot avoid it, correct? And apologize. Finally, apologize actually should be the first one. Okay. So normally in the crisis communication, you have few stages. You have planning and preparation, and behavior of organization, and communication to the important publics. Before a crisis happens, the message should be internalized information to build positive public opinion before the crisis happens. The crisis has not happened yet. We are just trying to create a positive image in the company, in the public, about possible crisis. So you are informing there may be a crisis. So this is what you need to do. If let's say there is a factory which may have a potential for crisis to release dangerous gas. So what the company need to do now? Before the crisis, they need to tell the peoples, take these actions in case there is a danger.
Yes.
In case we release dangerous gas,
Yes.
we will not release, but in case we release, what you should do? Maybe you can distribute the mask. You need to distribute the process, how you will escape the effect from the released gas. So first thing is, before is you create a positive public image, means we are responsible, we take security and safety very carefully, right? So you are trying to create a positive public image in your surroundings, so people will trust you as an organization that you are safe, secure. Don't worry about the crisis that may happen. But if you know boiler has stuck already, the gases are start to release, crisis is going to be there, so what are you going to do? You can immediately go and public, okay, if crisis, this is what you are supposed to do, you should be doing. Take the rest, go inside the house, take the mask, or whatever you need to do to protect yourself from the danger, correct? And then instructing the communication to increase greatly the breakout stage, so that public knows what they need to do in case of crisis. And when the crisis subsides, the crisis already there, finished now what you need to do is you need to shift to help people cope with the crisis. So how you are going to do that? How you will reduce the effect of your exposure, correct? So maybe you are providing the medical facilities, so you are telling them, we are doing this, we are doing that, we are doing corrective actions. For example, like in Japan, nuclear currency, before the crisis, Japan was promoting the nuclear energy is very good, safe, secure, low cost, right? Creating public image. During the crisis, they say, oh, how you gonna reduce your coverage? What you should do? Just evade the process, evade the city, correct? After the crisis has happened, they show how they are going to seal the facility, what they are doing, what kind of corrective actions they need to take in terms of medical facilities or in terms of other facilities, right? And if once the crisis abates, then organization can return to internalizing policies, internalizing strategies, just create positive behavior. Okay. So public bias in the public crisis communication is not just dissemination of the messages to the public, is also concerned with the preventing and minimizing the loss, protecting the assets and also maintaining the core functions. Okay, this one we can ignore. Coping with the power is not going